We are doing another video for the recipe series here. We are making, what the are we making? We are making Thank you again for coming to check us out here today at New York Coturnix. We are in a new environment, people. We have a new counter for the counterintelligence series. Today what we're going to be doing is making ramen. Ramen, people. We're going to be making ramen. We're going to be using quail eggs. Because why wouldn't we be using quail eggs? So stay tuned. I'm going to give you the recipe and we're going to get busy. Let's get started. All right, so we're going to get started by velveting the beef that we're going to be using for this ramen. It's not a step that everybody does, but that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be velveting the beef. Now, for those of you who don't know, for the uninitiated, velveting pretty much is softening and making a little bit more palatable. So we're going to do that. If you've ever wondered how they get the meat so soft, that a lot of Chinese restaurants, this is exactly what goes on. We're going to show you that process today. So we're going to cut this steak. This is a chuck steak. We're going to cut it against the grain. Again, we're going to cut it against the grain, people. Find the grain and cut against it. So for instance, you've got the grain of the meat going this way. You're going to cut across this way. That's going to help retain the moisture. Again, you got the grain of the meat going this way, you're going to cut that away. Sharper the knife, the better. Make sure you keep your fingers curled so you don't cut yourself up. All right, and there we have it, folks. 1 pound of chuck steak cut against the grain. Let's get this finished up. So we're gonna get the velveting going. And first thing that I'm gonna do is get an egg white. Need an egg white for this. The less messy, the better, but hey, we've got our egg white. All right, after that egg white, I'm gonna need about a tablespoon of the rice wine. There we go. A little bit over, won't kill. And we're going to use a tablespoon of oil. I'm using peanut oil for this. There we have a tablespoon of oil. We need about a half a tablespoon of salt, which we can eyeball, and we also need about a tablespoon of cornstarch, also which I'm going to eyeball. About a tablespoon of starch. I'm going to mix this all up in here. So it's nice and nasty looking. Mix it up, mix it up. I need to add a little bit more of the wine. I'm gonna have to spread this. Ooh, it's a lot. I'm gonna have to spread this around a whole lot of meat. Actually, that's perfect. So I use probably a whole nother tablespoon of the wine. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, get our meat into a dish. Once it's in a dish, I'm gonna go ahead and get the solution, pour it on there. Once you get your velveting solution poured on there, you're gonna mix it around. And set it to the side. All right, and for the broth, I'm gonna chop up some of this ginger. Really fine. Get a little bit more than that. All right, we've got our ginger chopped up. All right, so I'm gonna bring at or about 2 tablespoons of oil. Up to heat. And once that gets nice and hot, I'm gonna add this ginger that we just cut up. All right, so now we've got the oil nice and hot. Gotta get this ginger on here. Get it nice and soft. The heat doesn't have to be up too high. About 4, maybe 5 on an electric stove. Now we can throw garlic in here if we want to at this point. Normally I would, but I have no garlic right now, so we're not gonna do that. Before I do that, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. For very good reasons, right? So just a little bit, around 3 or 4 tablespoons of the soy sauce. And then we're going to add 2 or maybe 3 tablespoons of the marinade. So marinade's a sweet seasoning that we added to it. About 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. Gonna let that go for a moment. Smells really nice. Then we're gonna add our beef stock. About 4 cups of it, so that's 32 ounces. That's the entire container. At which time we can go ahead and turn the heat up just a little bit. All right, so we have those ingredients in there with the beef stock. We have the smaller, we also have the smaller container here, smaller saucepan. This is what we're gonna use to boil the quail eggs for the ramen. So we're almost done here. All right, and while we're waiting on that, we're gonna go ahead and get a couple of other things done. Have the green onions here. Get these cut up and put to the side. So after we've had our broth simmering for a little while, I'm gonna add the shiitake mushrooms. I already have some sliced here. It's gonna be fine. Go ahead, dump those in there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and let these simmer for about 10 minutes. All the while we have the oil going back here because what we're gonna do is with this meat that we velveted earlier, we're gonna toss that in the oil, cook it, and use that as the meat for our ramen. All right, people, so our oil is nice and hot. I'm gonna get the meat in the oil, get that cooking. It's gonna cook pretty fast too. And again, it's gonna cook pretty fast, so we're just gonna do it in 2 batches and put it off to the side and get it ready for the bowls. All right, and for this recipe, we have nested egg noodles. I'm gonna go ahead and get these popped in here. Gonna use 6 of those. Turn our heat right back on up. Now, while that's going, let's get our bowls prepped out. While we're prepping our bowls out, since it'll only take a moment, we're gonna get our eggs going. These eggs literally will take 2 minutes to soft boil because they're quail eggs. That's the focus of the recipe today, folks, the quail eggs. I'm gonna get those going, 2 minutes to soft boil. Start off with the bean sprouts in each bowl. Aside from the bean sprouts, we do have our green onion. I'm gonna add that to each bowl. Then we have our beef. We're gonna add that to each bowl. Got our bowls next to perfect. All right, when dealing with quail eggs, you're gonna wanna put them all in at the same time. Remember, we're only gonna put them in for 2 minutes because we're soft boiling these eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer for that 2 minutes. I'm gonna put some sesame seeds on the bowls too. Why not? Ooh, look at you. Mm-hmm. All right, folks, and there we have it. A thoroughly destroyed kitchen and 2 bowls of ramen with quail egg. Hopefully this is as good as it looks and smells. I'll let you know. All right, and thank you guys once again for coming to check us out here today at New York Coturnix. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to share a recipe of your own, feel free to do so below, as always. Also, leave a like for the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, that notification bell. If you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified anytime I leave a new video on the channel. That would also be appreciated. Thanks again from New York Coturnix.